Patrick Reed. Let's start with the man who might just be the most controversial figure in modern golf, Patrick Reed. If there was a championship for suspicious behavior on the course, Reed would be a multiple major winner. Reed's reputation for questionable ethics started long before he turned pro. During his college days at the University of Georgia, teammates accused him of cheating during qualifying rounds. The allegations were serious: improved lies, incorrect scorekeeping, and even stealing from teammates. These accusations were so severe that Reed was kicked off the team and transferred to Augusta State. But it was in the professional ranks where Reed truly earned his reputation. At the 2019 Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas, cameras caught Reed improving his lie in a waste bunker not once, but twice. As he took practice swings, Reed clearly swept sand away from behind his ball, creating a perfect path for his club. When confronted with the video evidence, Reed offered an explanation that strained credibility. "I didn't feel it or see it. It was from the angle we had, you couldn't see it." This despite clear footage showing him moving sand not once, but twice. The penalty? A measly 2 strokes. Then came the infamous embedded ball incident at the 2021 Farmers Insurance Open. Reed claimed his ball had embedded in the rough after a shot, entitling him to free relief. The problem? Video clearly showed the ball bouncing before settling, making it virtually impossible for it to have embedded. Even more suspicious, Reed picked up his ball before a rules official arrived to verify his claim. Fellow pros weren't shy about their opinions. Xander Schauffele said what many were thinking: "The talk amongst the boys isn't great." Brooks Koepka posted a thinly veiled jab on social media referencing the incident, and fans? They started calling him Patrick Cheat and the Sandman. What makes Reed's case so fascinating is his apparent indifference to his reputation. When asked about the controversies, his standard response is some version of, "I sleep fine at night." But in a sport where integrity is everything, Reed's legacy will forever be tainted by these incidents, no matter how many tournaments he wins. Next up is Vijay Singh, a player whose incredible work ethic and longevity are matched only by the controversies that have followed him throughout his career. Singh's troubles began early. In 1985, while playing on the Asian Tour, he was accused of altering his scorecard to make the cut at the Indonesian Open. The evidence was damning enough that Singh was suspended indefinitely from the Asian Tour. It was a punishment that could have ended his career before it truly began. Singh has always denied the allegations, but the incident followed him as he rebuilt his career through the Safari Tour in Africa and eventually made his way to the European Tour and PGA Tour. Even as he rose to world number 1 and won 3 major championships, whispers about his past never completely disappeared. Then, in 2013, Singh admitted to using deer antler spray, which contained a banned substance called IGF-1. While he claimed he didn't know the spray contained a prohibited ingredient, the admission raised eyebrows across the golf world. The PGA Tour initially suspended Singh, but he fought back, filing a lawsuit against the tour that was eventually settled out of court. What's particularly interesting about Singh is how his reputation contrasts with his achievements. Despite 34 PGA Tour wins and a Hall of Fame career, many fans and fellow pros view his accomplishments with a hint of skepticism. As one anonymous tour player told Golf Digest, "Where there's smoke, there's usually fire." Singh's case reminds us that in golf, unlike other sports, cheating allegations don't just fade away with time. They become an indelible part of a player's legacy, following them long after their playing days are over. Hey golf fans, if you're enjoying this deep dive into golf's most controversial figures, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We've got new videos every week exposing the stories that the golf establishment doesn't want you to remember. Now, let's get back to more shocking revelations. Colin Montgomerie. Colin Montgomerie built a reputation as one of Europe's greatest Ryder Cup players, but his legacy is tarnished by one of the most suspicious drops in golf history. At the 2005 Indonesian Open, Montgomerie's round was interrupted by a weather delay. When play resumed the next day, his ball, which had been in a precarious position in a bunker, was nowhere to be found, presumably moved by someone during the delay. The rules allowed Montgomerie to replace his ball, but video evidence later showed that he placed it in a far more favorable position than where it had originally been. The new lie gave him a much easier shot, turning what should have been a difficult bunker shot with 1 foot in and 1 foot out into a relatively simple play. When the footage emerged, the golf world was stunned. Fellow European Tour player Sandy Lyle later called it a form of cheating, while others were more diplomatic but clearly troubled by what they saw. Montgomery was never officially penalized, but in a move that raised even more eyebrows, he donated his prize money from the tournament to tsunami relief efforts. Was it an act of charity or conscience? The golf world remains divided. What makes this incident particularly notable is that Montgomery had always been quick to call out perceived rules violations by others. As the saying goes, those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, especially on a golf course. Tiger Woods. Even the greatest player of his generation isn't immune to controversy. At the 2013 Masters, Tiger Woods found himself at the center of a rules dispute that nearly led to his disqualification from the tournament. On the 15th hole of the second round, Woods' approach shot hit the flagstick and ricocheted into the water. When taking his drop, Woods later admitted he deliberately dropped the ball 2 yards behind the original spot to get a better yardage for his next shot. The problem? The rules required him to drop as nearly as possible to the original spot. By his own admission, Woods had violated this rule. Normally, signing an incorrect scorecard, which he did, not accounting for the penalty, would result in disqualification. But in a controversial decision, the Masters Committee chose to assess a 2-stroke penalty rather than disqualify Woods. They cited a recent rule change that allowed them to waive disqualification in certain circumstances. Many in the golf world cried foul, suggesting Woods received special treatment because of his status. As legendary announcer Johnny Miller put it, "I think he should withdraw." I mean, he took a drop that was advantageous to him. Woods didn't withdraw. He continued playing and ultimately finished tied for 4th. The incident added another layer of complexity to Woods' already complicated legacy. A reminder that even the greatest players aren't above the rules, no matter how much the golf establishment might want to protect them. Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson has long been one of golf's most beloved figures, but even Lefty isn't immune to controversy. At the 2018 US Open at Shinnecock Hills, Mickelson did something so shocking that many called for his disqualification. On the 13th green, facing a fast-moving putt that was likely to roll well past the hole, Mickelson did the unthinkable. He ran after his still-moving ball and hit it back toward the hole before it could roll off the green. It was a blatant violation of Rule 14-5, which prohibits hitting a moving ball. Even more shocking was Mickelson's admission afterward that it was a deliberate strategy, not a momentary lapse in judgment. "I've wanted to do that many times," he said with a smile. "I should have done it many times." The USGA assessed a 2-stroke penalty rather than disqualifying Mickelson, a decision that many felt was too lenient. Golf legend Jack Nicklaus expressed his disappointment. What made this incident particularly jarring was that it came from Mickelson, a player who had built a reputation as a fan favorite and ambassador for the game. It was a stark reminder that even the most respected players can cross the line when frustration gets the better of them. Jane Blalock. The biggest cheating scandal in women's golf history erupted in 1972, when Jane Blalock, the top money winner on the LPGA Tour, was accused of systematically cheating by improving her lies and incorrectly marking her ball on the green. What made this case extraordinary was that it wasn't just 1 or 2 players making accusations. It was a full-scale revolt. Multiple LPGA players had been watching Blalock, convinced she was routinely breaking the rules to gain an advantage. The situation reached a boiling point at the Bluegrass Invitational in Louisville. After the second round, the LPGA Executive Board called Blalock in, disqualified her, and slapped her with a $500 fine. But that wasn't enough for her fellow players. 27 LPGA players signed an affidavit demanding tougher consequences. The LPGA responded by suspending Blalock for 1 year and freezing her tour earnings, around $50,000, a significant sum in 1972. But here's the kicker. There was no video evidence, no photos, nothing concrete, just the word of the other players. Blalock maintained her innocence and fought back, filing a lawsuit against the LPGA. She eventually won an injunction that allowed her to continue playing while the case worked its way through the court. The legal battle dragged on for years, creating deep divisions within women's professional golf. What makes the Blalock case so fascinating is how it highlights the unique nature of golf as a self-policing sport. In most sports, officials make the calls. In golf, players often rely on the honor system. And when that system breaks down, the consequences can be devastating for all involved. Brian Watts. Sometimes cheating allegations arise from a single suspicious incident, as Brian Watts discovered at the 1995 Johnny Walker Classic in the Philippines. Watts was in contention when his ball found a fairway bunker on the 13th hole. What happened next would become one of golf's most controversial moments in Asia. According to playing partner Jean van de Velde and several spectators, Watts appeared to push his ball down into the sand with his foot, creating a better lie for his next shot. The incident wasn't caught on camera, but multiple witnesses came forward. Tournament officials assessed Watts a 2-stroke penalty, which he vehemently disputed. The controversy escalated when Watts threatened legal action, claiming his reputation was being unfairly damaged. What makes this case particularly interesting is how differently it was perceived in different parts of the world. In Asia, it became a major scandal that followed Watts for years. In America, it barely registered, with most fans unaware it had even happened. As a global game, your reputation and perception can vary wildly depending on where you play, and that a single questionable moment can follow a player for their entire career. The mysterious ball mark mover. Not all cheating in golf has a famous name attached to it. One of the most persistent forms of cheating involves the subtle manipulation of ball marks on the green, a practice so common that most tour players have witnessed it even if they're reluctant to name names. The technique is simple, but effective. When marking your ball on the green, you place your marker directly behind the ball. Then, when it's your turn to putt, you accidentally place your ball slightly closer to the hole than where it originally was. Do this a few times per round, and you might save a stroke or two, enough to make a significant difference in professional golf. Multiple players have been caught doing this over the years, but most incidents are handled quietly, with penalties assessed without public disclosure. The rare exceptions come when the violation is too blatant to ignore, as happened with Simon Dyson at the 2013 BMW Masters. Dyson was caught on camera using his ball to tap down a spike mark in his putting line, a clear violation of the rules. He was disqualified from the tournament and later given a suspended 2-month ban from the European Tour. What makes this form of cheating particularly insidious is how difficult it is to detect without video evidence. It's a reminder that in golf, the temptation to gain even the smallest advantage can lead players down a slippery ethical slope. So there you have it, folks, the biggest cheaters and rule benders. If you found this video eye-opening, smash that like button and subscribe for more content that dives into the stories of golf history and scandal. And let us know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching.